Hi friends, welcome back to Godandhealth, a channel where we talk about everything and anything that has got to do with God and health. If it is your first time being here, you are welcomed, and thank you so much for tuning in into my YouTube channel. I hope that you will really enjoy today's message. And please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Your support is really appreciated. So my name is Lindo Kuhle, for those that do not know me. So today we'll be focusing on Abraham's calling. That time he was still Abram, so we will be focusing on that today. I just want to put it out there that the story of Abraham is a lot. There's a lot that is talked about Abraham, so it will be in different parts with different kinds of messages. As I have said that every time I'm reading the Bible, I will try to explain the message and make it relate to us, or try to explain it in a way that it can relate to us. I am so sorry if there is a background noise that you are hearing. It is a bit windy outside, and yeah, so I am really sorry about that. So as you can see by today's topic, that is what we'll be focusing on, that is what we'll be talking about. So I just want to give a little background about Abraham. From the previous two videos, we spoke about Noah, or in the days of Noah, and then we talked about the Tower of Babel. So if we remember, in the days of Noah, they were destroyed, everybody was destroyed by a flood, but only 8 people were saved, which was Noah, his 3 sons, Seth, Ham, and Japheth, and his wife and their wives. So it was only 8 people that were saved. So these 3 children gave birth to another children, and hence the whole earth is filled again. But Abraham was from the line of Seth, and he was the 9th. I think he was the 9th generation from my counting. But if I'm wrong, please you can correct me. I think it was the 9th from Seth's generation, from Seth to Abraham. So that was the 9th generation. And Abraham had 2 brothers, which were Nahor and Haran. The name of his father was Terah, but his other brother, which was Haran, died, leaving behind his son Lot. We will also hear about Lot as we carry on, but not in today's video. I think we'll see. Haran died first before his father's death. Then Terah took his sons and daughter-in-laws and journeyed with them from Ur, land of the Chaldeans, to Canaan. Although he did not quite reach Canaan, because he ended up staying in the land of Haran, and that is where he died. So in here we hear that Abraham had a wife, and the name of his wife was Sarah. It's from chapter 11. I will link it down below so that you can go and read it for yourself. So today we will read chapter 12, verse 1 to 10. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. And Abraham passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. I had forgotten to tell you that Sarai was a barren, and we hear that when Abraham was called by the Lord, he was 75 years old at that time, and he was told to get out of the country. Remember that when they were journeying to Canaan with their father, they ended up not reaching Canaan and staying in the land of Haran. So that is where they were based at the time. And then the Lord came and called Abram and told him to go into a place where he will show him. So what does this tell us? It tells us that sometimes there are certain places where God will tell us to go to, and he will not tell us the plan until we have reached that certain place. It may be a certain stage in our life. We may have to leave our families and go into a place where the Lord wants us to go. We may have to leave our jobs or anywhere that we are residing, and the Lord may call us to a place where he knows that when we go to that place, that is where we will reach our full potential. Maybe God saw that if Abraham had continued to stay in his home country, there would not be any prosperity in his life. I'm not talking about wealth prosperity, but prosperity in all aspects, because when we read this verse and we carry on, we hear that God had intended to make a nation for himself through Abraham. He had intended to use Abraham's seed to make a nation for himself. What I'm also learning in this verse is that sometimes God can make something out of nothing. Because let us remember that at this age and time, Abraham had no children at all. We are told that his wife was a barren, and the Lord is telling him that out of him he will make a generation. He will make children out of him, and he will make a nation out of him, a nation that will serve him, a nation that will carry out his name. So this may have seemed impossible, but we hear that Abraham did not by any means doubt the Lord. He trusted in the Lord. He trusted in his plan, and he went out of his country, and he did not go alone, because he went out with his servants and he went out with his niece. We are told God also told him that I will bless whoever that will bless you, and whoever that will curse you, I will curse him. Here we also hear that Abraham was to be a father of the nations. He was to have a great name. This had been fulfilled, because even us ourselves, because we were saved by the grace of God through faith. Therefore, because it was not of our works, we had been abantu ababephambuka. We had been going astray, not following the ways of the Lord, unlike the Israelites. So it applies to us, because we are told in Romans that whosoever believes in God. We are told that Abraham had faith and believed in God, and it was accounted to him as a righteous man. So therefore, it also applies to us, because when God was introduced with us, unlike Israelites, the Israelites knew him from the beginning. They had been walking with him from the beginning. But for us, when it came to us, it only started 2,000 years back. What he did on the cross of Calvary, it something that kept going, and the gospel had to be preached all over the world, had to be brought to Africa. All those things had to be done, and then God adopted us and made us to become part of his family. I am seeing how much faith Abraham had in God. Sometimes we may not be hearing the voice of God. Sometimes we have to pray and listen to the voice of God and wait for the Lord to speak to us. And just like Abraham, we have to take heed to the voice of God. We have to be discerning. I love to use this word, discerning, because we are told as Christians we have to be very discerning, even worse in these last days that we are living in. So Abraham was able to discern and know that this is the voice of the Lord, as we are told by Jesus Christ that my sheep, they know me and they hear my voice and they follow me. So he knew God and he had his voice and he followed God. This shows us that Abraham had been obedient to God from the beginning. This shows us that Abraham had been following God, that he was able to discern the voice of the Lord. Abraham had a close and an intimate relationship with God. So just like Abraham, we need to have a very close and an intimate relationship with God, so that we may be able to discern a whole lot of things, so that we may be able to hear him when he is speaking, because God is still speaking to us even in these days. God is still calling us even in these last days. God is still calling us out of certain places that he knows that are toxic for us, out of certain places that he knows that are not conducive for us, that he knows instead of helping us and improving us will bring us down, that he no, that place is not good for my child. That place will not help us grow, but that place will bring a stagnation into our lives, because there are places like that. There are people like that, people that bring stagnation in our lives. So we have to hear the Lord when he is calling. We have to take heed to the voice of God and listen to him and follow him and let him direct us, because here we see that Abraham allowed the Lord to direct him. After this, we hear that Abraham went to the land of Egypt because of the famine. And when he went there, he told Sarai, his wife, that you shouldn't tell the people there that I am your husband, and we shouldn't tell them that we are married to each other. We should just pretend that we are siblings. So fine, no problem. When they got there, we are told that the princes saw Sarai, and she was a very beautiful woman, and they loved her for Pharaoh. And they told Pharaoh, there is a Sarai, or there is a certain woman here, there and there and there. We are told that Pharaoh took her into his house, and there the Lord preserved Sarai. The Lord brought a plague in the house of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh was so angry because he couldn't understand why Abraham couldn't tell him about all that he had done. Pharaoh became so enraged and sent Abraham out of the country and sent him packing and said, you have to go, man. And Abraham went out of Egypt. He and his niece, they went out of Egypt, and we are told that Abraham was very, very rich. He had all the gold, the silver, and cattle. He was very rich in everything. I want us to read chapter 13, verse 14 to 18. It says, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land, in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto you. Then Abraham removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. So in obeying the word of God, in obeying the voice of the Lord, God gives a reward. There is a reward in obeying the Lord. So in here, God is showing Abraham the land that he is about to give him. Sometimes the things that God promises us may not be delivered to us as we expected, or as soon as we would have liked them to be delivered. It may take a while, it may take a long time, but I don't want to go ahead of myself. We will carry on reading and understanding these things. But all I'm saying is that it is so important for us to take it and listen to the word of God, to allow God to speak into our lives, to allow God to minister into us, to allow him to direct us, to direct our path, to show us the way that we should go, to ask him about the kinds of jobs that he wants us to work, to ask him about the kinds of things he wants us to do. Even when it comes to us choosing husbands and wives, we have to ask God and ask him to direct us so that he may give us the best, because he knows what is the best for us. He knows our lives because they have been predestined from the beginning. He is the one who knows the end from the beginning, we are told in Isaiah. So in each and everything, we have to trust in the Lord and trust him to make a way for us. Trust him to make a way in the desert. Trust him to lead us in the way, even when the path seems so unclear, because I'm sure it was such a long journey that Abraham was to take, and he was directed by the Lord, and we hear that he trusted in the Lord and he was led by the Lord. He asked the Lord which way and which path he should take. So let us have that faith of Abraham. That is why we are told that we are the children of Abraham. When we accept the faith as Gentiles, us who had been Gentiles before, let me put it that way, because I'm no longer a Gentile now, child. Us who had been Gentiles before, we have to have the faith of Abraham, because Abraham had so much faith in the Lord, and we are told that it was not because of works, but it was because of believing. He first believed, and upon believing, he acted upon it. It was first belief, then works followed after belief. He did not try so hard trying to work for the Lord, but he obeyed and listened to the Lord and and allowed the Lord to dictate his life. So that is the kind of faith that we need. We should first believe and accept and have an intimate relationship with God. And when we believe and accept and have an intimate relationship with God, that will bring out the good works in us. That will bring out the good works in us. We will no longer have to live our lives trying to work so hard for all those things, but God will help us. God will help us where we are struggling. God will meet us halfway. Out of love, we will do things for the Lord. So that is the message for today. I hope that you really enjoyed today's video. It was quite difficult making this video, a whole lot of difficult. But I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you stayed till up until the end, you are the real one, and I love you so much. Thank you. I hope you had a great day, or you are having a great day. Thank you so much.